Episode 3 of Reacher Season 3 starts with Reacher and Duke heading back to Beck's place together. Duke does ask about Angel a little, but doesn't pry too much. Duke told him that Angel once said that he has something important to share, but he didn't elaborate further. Duke, aware that this little weasel is always trying to jump the chain of command. Back inside the house, Reacher speaks to Annette, the cleaner who was sniffing around inside his room last episode. Here, Reacher learns that there's a mechanic on their staff 24/7, while Annette is simply here to pay for tuition. She also mentions a 50th birthday party for someone rich, which could come into play later on. For now, Duke came and Reacher needs to see Beck, who has questions for Reacher about the Angel's voicemail isn't adding up. Then ask Angel, not me. He's not answering. I've already told you that he didn't say anything to me. Tell Beck yourself. Beck asked why the description of the kidnapper doesn't match what they've found through their investigation that used that truck. Either their truck was stolen or you're a fake, unreliable witness. You know, I ran Special Investigation Unit for years. My investigation skill is good as compared to other. Maybe it belongs to the guy with them you're doing business. And want to send some message, a rug business message. It makes no sense. Reacher said it make perfect sense. They're playing your son, pointing out that this gang are clearly laying low. They'll not do it forever, but they'll hit again. So we have to find them before making their next move. I can do that, but you've tell me everything about them. Beck said you need to stay quiet and do your job. Reacher said my job is to protect you and your son. How can I do that if you keep me in dark? Trust me or hire me. Beck said I'll do whatever I want when I want. It seems to work, and Reacher is dismissed. Upstairs, we learn a bit more about those who work with Beck. Paulie was discharged from the army for punching his captain's eye clean out of its socket, while he also tore off a CO's finger too. As for Angel, he did 8 years in the brig, sharing time with Paulie for sexually assaulting a female lieutenant. So what did Chapman Duke? Well, he was a former cop, but he's now obviously turned to a criminal lackey, and his rap sheet is pretty extensive. Reacher, who is this guy? There are some nasty people here, and of course, that's all topped off by Quinn too. When Neagley finds out what Reacher is up against, she knows he needs backup. She said, tell me, where are you? Reacher said, don't try to track this number. This is a secure federal line. And cut the call. Then Reacher arranged a car near the house and a pair of cloth. As for Reacher, he sneaks out that night after a bit of shut-eye, intending to clean up the mess he's made at the warehouse of Bizarre Bazaar. Reacher came out the house and reached the beach. He put off his clothes and dived into the water to reach the secret place. Making his way there, Duffy joins him. Reacher showed her the dead body of Angel Doll and told her all previous story, which we have seen last episode. Angel Doll has some doubtful information about Reacher. He was going to blow my cover. That's why Reacher killed him. They begin searching through the various crates to try and find Teresa, but she's not there. Instead, they stuff Angel inside one of the shipping containers outside. They started to clean up the mess. Unfortunately, 2 workers arrive ready to meet Angel, but instead find themselves in the presence of Reacher and Duffy. Then both were killed by Reacher. The pair worked to subdue the goons, stuffing them in another container. Man, Reacher is just going to fill up every container with Beck's goons, right? Anyway, with confirmation that Teresa isn't here, Reacher heads back to the mansion. In the morning, though, the place is abuzz as there's a big operation about to go down. Of course, the drivers haven't shown up for work. Beck said, if this deal gonna fucked up, then heads are gonna roll. But Reacher offers to help. Beck refused. But instead, he's on shopping detail with Richie. He should keep eye on him to protect him the whole day. Whilst out and about, Rich reveals that Paulie is only here because of someone called Julius McCabe. This is actually Beck's boss, who's the real person pulling the strings here. Reacher asked him again and again about the business of McCabe, but Rich said rug business. That's not true. Then they purchase a birthday gift of Beck. Reacher asked about the previous old memories of Beck. Then Rich told a lot of things. Reacher was a sharp-minded, and he gets a clue. Reacher rings and informed her that he didn't get new job. Instead, he was sent with Kid. New update is the boss of Beck is McCabe. Reacher needs to get promoted, so there's no better way to do that than to become Beck's number 2. Part of this includes getting rid of Duke. Duffy and Reacher orchestrate a plan, including giving Beck a tip-off about a local gang, hanging at a secluded, empty house. All of this is done through Angel's email to make everything look legit. On the road, some old friends of Rich started bullying to him. After setting this up, Reacher dispatches a couple of bullies with a massive chip on their shoulder who come after Rich. Given Beck's operation has put their families out of business, they want revenge. Following this altercation, Rich opens up to Reacher, pointing out he has dreams to leave and never look back. Reacher obviously knows a thing or two about hitting the road and promises to get him there if he opens up about Beck's business and what's really going on here. This works to loosen his lips, and Richie explains that Julius McCabe is the ringleader, and Beck works for him. Paulie is not actually here to protect Rich, but instead to give Julius an easy entry point to get to Rich if his father steps out of line. McCabe is the ones who initially kidnapped Richie too, and in particular it was Paulie who beat the crap out of him and left him locked in the trunk for days. All of this done under McCabe's command. Initially, Beck ran a tight operation, and a completely legal one too. He managed to find loopholes around customs, paying off officials to lower down charges or making them look the other way. Unfortunately, McCabe caught wind of this and made a move for the business, kidnapping Richard and forcing Zachary to play ball. Rich told him that McCabe used my father rug shipment to transfer something where it is needed. He smuggles drugs in the rugs. Rich, I don't know about it. Now everything is in McCabe's hands. While this is going on, Duffy learns about a shipment inbound to the dock after earlier infiltrating Angel's email. Duffy and Villy head to the dock, where they stake out McCabe's operation. Paulie is there overseeing everything, and of course, Quinn shows up too, but he's under the alias of Julius McCabe. Meanwhile, Cooper makes his move and looks set to escape after duping Elliot, the rookie officer on babysitting duties, into patching up a self-inflicted wound. After dropping off Rich back home, Reacher is off again to this house in Hartford. Just before they go, Reacher grabs a gun from the dock, which we later find out is Angel's piece. Something tells me he's probably going to need it. Beck said, "Tonight is time for you to prove yourself. I will give you 10 grand. Reacher and Duke head out into the woods, armed to the teeth, and head to this secluded house. These guys you're taking out, they are pill pushers. They sells party drugs made in a lab. You've ever deal with these types of guy?" He said no, but I'm aware how to handle them. Of course, all of this is a ruse to get Duke alone in order to take him out. Reacher asked him, "Where's Teresa?" Duke kept everything secret. Getting nothing from the guy, Reacher kills Duke before staging the scene to make it look like a shooting before eventually blowing the place sky high. With the evidence destroyed in a huge explosion, Reacher rushes back to Beck and hands over Angel's gun. Given Beck's extensive collection, he obviously knows his weapons and immediately recognizes it and believes Angel was dirty and playing them this whole time. Reacher goes on to explain those truck drivers were in on it too, explaining their absence. All of this also works a treat, with Reacher promoted up to becoming Beck's right-hand man with more than 10 grand.